Hello, it is I. Oh, that's the wrong screen. Oh. Oh no, what have I done? Oh dear. Oh. Oh. Hello. I really like this hat. I don't know who sent it to me, but I really like this hat. It's great. Good morning. I'm a little bit later than I was intending on being today, but that's okay because you know what I did? I went for a walk and I ate breakfast. Did I finish all the pages? Oh, my friend, I did more than finish all of the pages. I finished all of the pages and read like 10 pages of one of the incorrect bills, like a different bill C22 or something, or bill C11, and then also proceeded to read the wrong bill C18, but only for like a minute or two, and then I was like, this isn't the right one. I had to go find another one. Oh, you slept for like 4 hours for 2 days? Yo, that's me today. That's me the last couple of days. I'm with you there, but no, I legit did it. I did the whole thing. I read, it took me 10 hours, but we read the whole thing, and my voice is only partly sore, and you can probably hear it a little bit. After I was done, I walked to the bar, ordered 2 rum and cokes, got some gyoza, and consumed it instantaneously and then left. And left a huge tip because it was like right at the end of their day. I was like, I'm sorry, please feed me. You're a bit gloopy? I love you. That's a time. Inhalation method. Oh yeah, I consumed the first drink so fast and I was just like, just give me another one. Oh yeah, no, pull that switch. Pull that switch, my friend. Give me that tea. Give me that shit. I need that I need a... Speaking of inhaling things, that... Yeah, give me that. Yeah, but that is your normal life. Oh, that's true. I guess I'm used to not sleeping very much. Hey, yeah, welcome. I'm leaving on Friday, so I will be gone on Friday until the following Saturday. So unless I am up really early for some ungodly reason on Friday, you will likely not see me between Friday and Saturday. I will be like spottily available if like there's an emergency, but if there's not an emergency, I probably won't answer you. Don't be mad, I'm on vacation, and if you get mad, that's a you problem and I don't care. That is not a me problem at that point. Rogan, Josh, and rice for food just as the stream is starting. Oh, rice. I was gonna make rice this morning and then I didn't bother. Switch pulled if I want to have a look. Oh, I do. Should I have a look on stream? Should I like how it's titled, Ah Well, ellipses. What a good title. Oh, the tea. Oh, I'm gonna slurp this. Oh, I'm gonna slurp this so hard. Thank you. I'm gonna enjoy this. This is a lovely birthday present. Thank you. Thank you. How pretty. How cute. Amazing. What if there's an emergent instead? Oh, well, if somebody has a baby or an alien of some sort, I'm sure that can wait until I get back. When you will be back, I will be back on my night shift schedule. Oh, do you prefer your night shift schedule or your day shift schedule? You gotta cook dinner? What are you making for dinner? I'm making spaghetti tonight. I'm making spaghetti tonight so I don't have to make anything. So I don't have to really make anything. I can just go grocery shopping and take everything to where I'm going. So like spaghetti will feed me for Wednesday and Thursday, and then on Friday I'm gonna get Wendy's on my way up because I traditionally get Wendy's on my way up, and I can go grocery shopping and have everything packed and ready to go. Oh no, I got your pun. It was good. It was good. It was good. I liked your pun. Very funny. I rolled with it. I'm sorry. I rolled with it and it got lost in the sauce. I apologize. Me pulling that switch is the most risky thing I've done in a bit. Oh yeah. Oh, man. So I'm reworking my streaming schedule, so again, do not be surprised that it's been a little bit spotty and a little bit, like, here and there, and that is simply because I'm still sorting things out and settling in and figuring out when's gonna work. I can tell you that Dumbfuck Friday is going to get moved to 10 a.m. Eastern Time and 10 p.m. Australian Time. So we are moving 12 hours backwards, 13 hours backwards. And that's when that'll be. So it'll actually be Friday for Manya and for me, and it also lets Manya have a nap before playing in the Star Trek game. And depending on how everybody's feeling about it, it means that we will be able to have Dumbfuck Friday and the Volcano Show as opposed to Dumbfuck Friday or the Volcano Show. Maybe. We'll see how it goes. I don't want to commit to that because I don't know how cooked and toasty roasty Manya's gonna get, because she will overwork. Brick, good to see you! Blue-green. Yeah. Wendy's potatoes and chili. I just like classic Wendy's stuff. Hey, no, I've been good. I've been behaving. I'm getting back in my workout schedule, which you would think that because I'm going on vacation for a week, my workout schedule would fall off, but actually, it doesn't. I tend to have a really good time working out while I'm at the cottage. So, I'm just gonna not use, I'm just not gonna bring my weights. So, I'll have to deal with just having body weight, which should be good enough. And I won't have the treadmill, but I won't need it because I'm going to be doing a lot of walking and swimming, so... How late are you? Not really. We haven't really started. I've just been chilling. Yeah, I don't know who sent this to me. I think they sent it to, sent it to me for my birthday. Whoever sent it to me, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. It's lovely. They sent it to me from Throne, and it seems like Throne packages stuff together sometimes, no matter who sent it. So, thank you. It's cute, and I love it. I'm gonna bring it to the cottage. You wanna see my burn? You wanna see how it's doing? I think I've taken pretty good care of it. It's getting, like, aloe vera on it 2 to 3 times a day. So, I don't know if you can... see it? I wouldn't call this gone. It's still pretty red, and it's, like, all raw. You can tell that it's, like, pretty rough. Oh, the lighting in here is pretty wacky, though. Because I have the other window open. It's fine. Your burn is pretty much gone? That's good. Working out on vacation is the best. I love to hit the gym, get breakfast, shower, go back to bed. Best sleep ever. Oh, sounds amazing. That looks very ow. Yeah, it was. A friend of mine's, so I had some friends over, and I made turkey, and that's how this happened. But, a friend of mine brought his kid, who's like roughly 12. I don't know exactly how old he is. I think he's around 12 years old. And so I spilled turkey on myself, and I was just like, because I dropped the turkey, and I was like, oh no, look out! And I'm like moved out of the way, and I was like, shit. And I was cleaning it up, and one of the other guys was helping me, and this kid looks at how I am, like, covered in hot turkey juice, and it's just like, how did you not scream? And I said, I've been through worse. And I'm like, oh, I should not have. It's probably not the best way to answer that question. But hey, whatever. I thought it was funny. Love the beanie. Yeah! Somebody sent it to me for my birthday. Thank you very much. They sent it to me from Throne. I adore it. I set up my Throne so anybody can send me anything. People don't have to, like, get my approval or even let me know what the thing they sent me is. Because I think that's fun. I'm convinced Cheshire's allergic to shorts. I don't like shorts. I don't like wearing shorts very much. It's just true. Like, I sometimes like wearing tank tops, but not too much either. I'm very comfortable in, like, fall clothing. I like wearing sweaters and track pants and jeans and t-shirts. That's my vibe. Maybe I'll like wearing, if I get like my arms ripped, then I'll like wearing like wife beater style ribbed tank tops. That'll be my jam. Sleeves are bullshit. You don't like shorts either? Yeah, I don't like shorts. I like shorts when it contains sea drums. Ha 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 ha. Yeah, that's true. Still used to hearing those so-called Canadian beanies. Oh, toques. This one's not a toque. This is this is a knitted beanie. I love fall clothing as well. In the fall. Okay, listen, valid. Fair. I wear shorts when I'm like on vacation. I don't wear shorts in the house because the house is like air conditioned, so it's cool in here. So I don't want to wear shorts because I'll get cold. I am also like very small, so like I do not retain body heat at all. It's like not even a little bit. You're wearing skirts? That's nice. Are there Canadian dramas akin to Chinese or Korean dramas? You know, I don't know, but I bet there would be a huge market for it if somebody were to do it. Good enough to call it a toque? I think so. I think it's good enough to call it a toque, but I don't think it would technically classify as one. All knitted caps toques. That's a good one. Chesh gets cold leggies. I get cold fingies. I get cold tootsies. I gotta wear slippers. I got a hat on in the middle of summer. Look at this hat. This hat is so me, isn't it? This is such a me hat. The hockey stuff was Canadian? You mean he did Rivalry? He did Rivalry as a Canadian show, yeah. Produced in Canada by Canadians with a Canadian producer and main actor. So that's the same guy. He produced it, and I don't know how much he directed, but he was the guy who played Shane. But that's a TV series. That's not a YouTube, not like a short movie, which is like a whole different production process. It's like a pillowcase as a hat. It's so cute. It's like little horns, or it's like little ears. It's perfect. It's the right size. I can't wait to show off my new Debate Hub uniform. But I can't show that off for you yet. It has to be on Debate Hub, so I have to wait until I'm gonna be back on Debate Hub. By the way, Debate Hub and pubs will be happening while I'm gone. Mania's gonna be running them. Mania and Dapper will take care of that, so that'll still be happening. I have a bunch of stuff also scheduled for August, and then I'm scheduling out, so there's gonna be a bunch of new content also over on Debate Hub as well, so enjoy that. Is there anything else we need to talk about? I don't think so. I don't think I have anything else going on. I think that's about everything. I just needed to make sure you guys knew I was going to be gone and not freak out if I didn't answer you guys. Yeah, I go away for 1 week every year. That's my vacation. I go for 1 week every year. And it's usually the last week of July. It's either the last week of July, first week of August, depending on how the weeks fall out. How am I doing from yesterday? I didn't sleep a whole ton, so I'm a little tired. I think you can probably hear it in my voice that my throat's a little tired, but other than that, I'm okay. Oh, I do have some plans for some filming that I'm going to do before I leave. Which is going to be related to the pink tax that Borg's been talking about and wants me to do. So I'm going to talk about that a little bit. But I've been mulling it over and trying to figure out how to approach making a video about that. And I think what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to make a video series that ends up being like a couple of shorter videos that I can like make into a larger video later. So that way, if you just want to know about a specific thing, because like the pink tax covers like a handful of categories of other things. So like makeup is a category. Makeup is a category of things that women need to do but don't have to do, depending on where you're working and what you're doing. So it's like society wants you to do it, but you're not gonna die if you don't wear makeup. But if you don't wear makeup, you're not really necessarily gonna get the job you want or treated well at the job you're working. So you sort of need to do it, but not necessarily, you know what I mean. You'll give me permission? Okay. Alright. Noted. I'll review it, because I didn't really go over and talk about that total situation at all on stream, so I don't know how many people really know what's up with that. But, we'll probably talk about it in the Discord. And I'm still trying to figure out a time for when we're gonna do, like, watch parties. Which we will do soon, I just gotta figure out when. Lost power right when you wanted to cook? That's unfortunate. I think that's everything. Should we talk about these bills now? I guess we should. I guess we should do that. We should do the thing. Right? We should do the thing that we're here to do. I'm just super duper not in a rush. You know what I mean? Like, I don't feel like I'm rushed today to, like, get through this stuff. Sometimes I am. Sometimes I'm like, oh, we gotta get through this shit. How do I get in the Discord? You get a link. You need a link? Here you go. There's a link. Feel free to join in. Have fun. We mad goofing. Is this gonna be another 10-hour stream? God, no. I guess theoretically I could. I could do another 10-hour stream today. I don't really have anything else planned. In theory, I could stream for 10 hours today. If I was gonna stream for 10 hours today, I'd probably do some art. But I have actually done any art on stream in a little while, since, like, I've been moving and stuff. Get these bills! I'm just a bill, and I'm sitting on Capitol Hill. Oh yeah, there's Trump. Trump's putting new tariffs on because he's a salty bitch. I'm not sure what he's a salty bitch about right now, this time in particular, but he's an idiot. And Canada's laughing at him. So there's that. Hey, you're in! Hey! Welcome. Welcome to the shit show. If you're looking for our conversations or anything we've talked about related to, like, Aaron and that legality harassment case, you'll find it in a thread, in a sub-thread in specific drama under content, and it's called Man Bear Pig Den, because, you know, they're super serial. So if you're looking for that, it's buried a little bit, but that's where it is. Oh, okay. Yeah, sorry. If I end up talking about this stuff on YouTube, I'll let you know. I'll send you a specific message. Man Bear Pig is paid? No, it's not. No, Man Bear Pig isn't. Content, the content section is all open area. No, it's not. Nuh-uh. Nuh-uh. What was I doing? I got distracted. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm freaking... Am I stupid? Did I just... Hold on, wait. Did I just do something really dumb? I might have. No. Hold on, go back. View full playlist. Oh no, I didn't fuck it up. Okay. I didn't do- No, I did! I did do something stupid! Get out of here! You're in the wrong playlist. Oof. Alright. I gotta go find... No, I found Bill C9. I gotta go find Polyev's stupid fucking video. Oh yeah, we have that other video to watch of his, don't we? Should we watch that today? Maybe we won't watch the whole thing today, but we can watch part of it, right? We can take a look, see how it's going, and then we can finish it tomorrow, and then we can be done with this man when I get back. I'm not gonna have to talk about him again. That sounds pretty good on my end, actually. I don't hate that. Nah, Man Bear Pig isn't paid. Man Bear Pig is the free low zone. I have not, like, which was one of the things that I think is really funny. Like, a couple of these people have, like, paid to get access to a bunch of content that isn't about them. Because they're paranoid that I'm talking about them behind a paywall. Which, you know, to me, is very funny. I think that's very funny. And one of the guys that they tried to drag in called Roadhog, was like, oh no, Cheshire's super smart, she's trying to put this shit behind a paywall, and I'm like, why? Cheap ass can't afford $1? My membership is $1. Like, Canadian. It's like 75 cents American. Bro, I'm such a cheap date, and that's a whole month. That's a per month. I'm cheaper than your fucking daily coffee run. My god. I'm cheaper than your coffee run if you get your coffee from the grocery store. I can't believe I never joined the Discord all the years I've been around. I was the 9th subscriber on this channel, long before all these noobs. Yeah, I know, Brick with Eyes has been around for ages. Yeah, who cares? Get that bag. I know, right? Greetings! Hey, Megan Fox with giant boobs. How's it going? Yeah, like, we talk about these people publicly, so it's just very funny that they, that they're so worried about it. Like, as if what I say is that important. I'm really not a very big YouTuber, and I'm really not a very big, like, fucking Twitch streamer. I'm barely a Twitch streamer. You know what I mean? So, like, it's odd to me that these people freak out if I talk about them. It's because I'm right. It's because I'm right, and I'm notorious. I have a reputation. And, which means I have a reputation to maintain. Drink at pubs, don't lick them. Yeah! Make my coffee at home so that's cheaper, I'll still pay my Gobbo taxes. Oh, bless, thank you. Pay your Gobbo taxes. Taxes to the queen. Okay, alright. You know what I do with the taxes you give me? I make food on stream. That's what I do. Alright. No, you're not, no, I haven't updated the scroll yet, because I was like, I moved, a bunch of shit happened, and then I was gone, so I gave up on updating it for July, so I'm just gonna update it for August. Okay, the fuck is going on? Let's pause this, turn this up. This is the section we're talking about. They're titled censorship bills, right? And that's the list. Please talk about us so we can bitch about you talking about us. Yeah, literally. I'll just say this quote again. No, I did something stupid. Chess July 2024. No, I did something stupid. Yo, that's... me all day, every day. God, I'm a genius. Holy shit, why am I so dumb? Hey, April, what's going on? Yo, we vibing. I'm just chilling at the moment. I've just been hanging out. I low-key really enjoy just being able to hang out for the first, like, half an hour of a stream while I just drink my tea and get caffeinated before I jump into whatever dumb shit I'm about to look at. Okay, so what I should also do, before I forget, I'm gonna pull up all the bills. I'm gonna pull up all the bills so we can quick reference them if we need to. I've got bill C9 pulled up. We need bill C22. We need bill C18, which is not the act to implement the Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement with Indonesia. It's not that one. It's a different bill C18. What do we got? Bill C11, Online Streaming Act. That's the one we... Oh, why am I doing this way? I'm doing this the complicated way. I linked them all in the video description, so I'm just gonna go get them. This is black tea. You have white tea, black tea, or green tea. I don't think I've ever had black tea, and I really gotta get my hands on some, like, real green tea, as opposed to, like... Because, like, the green tea they serve you at, like, a Japanese... food place or like a like a ramen shop, like a good ramen shop, is so much better than the green tea I make at home, and I don't know how they do it. I don't know if it's because, like, the amount that they make and for the length of time it's steeped, or, like, the temperature. It's so fucking good, and I feel like I would drink almost nothing except that if I could do it correctly. If any of you fuckers, I was gonna say, if any of you fuckers know how to do it, you are obligated to tell me how to do it. Oh, Rez can't stick around, so he's telling everybody to behave. Oh, look out. Yeah, you gotta tell me. You send me the recipe to break green tea correctly. And if you've gotta have, like, if you need to have, like, specific type of tea leaves. Hey, sorry, don't mind me. I'm grabbing I just opened up this stream. I'm fucking brain dead, my guys. I am brain fucking dead. I wonder if I should do, like, some kind of campaign to get, like, stream views or stuff. Things. I don't know. C11, C18, C22, and I already pulled up C9, so that we've got all of them. All right, I've got all of them up for quick reference. Cool. All right. They are also in the description of, if they're not in the description of this video, they will be. I'll make sure that they get added. I know a place I got really good green tea. Maybe you could go there and ask for advice. I'll post a pic in Discord. Oh, fuck yeah. Yes, and then give me that shit. Give me that fucking shit right now. I need that in my fucking face hole. Do you have K9? I asked this. No, my dog died. Thanks for asking. Loose leaf? Specific leaves made a specific way. Of course, that's all they would tell you. They're not gonna give you the trade secrets. They're not gonna give you the trade secrets. Buy good tea leaves from a tea leaf shop or an Asian supermarket if you have to. Yeah, no, weirdo. I know that's not what you were saying. I was just giving you a bad time. I was just giving you a hard time. I mean, it's true, but, like, I'm just giving you a hard time. Okay. So in order, I think he brings up Bill C9, then C11, Bill C22, and then C18, I think. Because you'd think I'd have this memorized. I've listened to it enough time. So just to be clear, none of these bills are censorship bills. They title them censorship bills. They say they're censorship bills. They're listed as censorship bills in their fucking, like, title cards and stuff. None of these are censorship bills. Like, clearly Moose on the Loose is still allowed to spew his garbage on the internet, and the bill hasn't stopped him. So, like, clearly, you know what I mean? You're gonna put the recipe on Discord? Yeah. Give that to me now. Thank you. I appreciate that. Are you talking about Andrew Tate wearing women's clothing? Well, hey, listen, people should be able to wear what they want. And men need more love in the Western Hemisphere for their fashion, quite frankly. There's, like, a kick in Korea about men discovering makeup. And they're like, now men are wearing makeup all over the place. And it's just like, good. Do that. Learn. It's okay. I'm being censored, least censored man alive. I know, right? Okay. No, enough prattling on. I need to make another tea. Enough prattling on. Time for me to prattle on more. Okay. Let's listen to what this fucking man said for, like, the umpteenth time, and then we can talk about it. All right? We'll talk about it.
Being ripped off.
Speaking of which, the government just pushed through a lot of new bills, including laws on hate speech, online safety, and police access to digital information. Even the CBC came out with a panel that were all blown away by how this is unprecedented and inappropriate. What is your take? You were just there. What is your take on what just took place in these online censorship bills?
We're seeing the more consolidation of power and control in the hands of the carny liberal government. They want to control your thoughts, your religious beliefs, they want to be able to have the capacity to surveil people's online activities with laws that go far beyond what exists in any other democratic country. And what you're seeing is a large-scale surveillance and censorship apparatus that the Liberals have put together with C9.
Okay, so before he goes into C9, I want to talk about for a second, democratic is a kind of a loose term, right? So, like, technically, Vladimir Putin was voted in, Donald Trump was voted in, but we hardly call these scenarios democratic. Right, particularly with, like, cheating and rigging and money spending, Elon Musking around, right? So, like, you can be a democratic country and be like, I don't know about that. And if you want to talk about democratic countries with a lot of surveillance, the United States passed some crazy surveillance laws during the George Bush Jr. 9/11 era. Like, crazy. Like, some fucking crazy nonsense about, like, wiretapping, like, just citizens' phones and shit. Like, so I don't think, I don't know about that one, guys. I don't know about that one. Democratic people of Korea. Yo, valid. Olivia for 2 said the Democratic People Republic of Korea. You can't, when you use I know what he wants people to think when he says democratic, but that's not necessarily realistic. Right? So, like, you can be there are places that are democratic that he's not considering. And I don't even think that if you were to look at the details of what he's saying, if this would actually even be true. Right? This video is from 3 weeks ago now. 29th of June. I don't remember them passing that. I thought they just did it until Congress said they couldn't. In the United States? I'm not sure. I'd have to double check. But that's what I mean. Like, I'm not 100% sure because I don't know other countries' surveillance laws on their own people. But I suspect that I suspect that if you were actually to dig into this, that would not necessarily be the case. So let's see what these are new bills he's talking about.
Apparatus that the Liberals have put together with C9, which bans certain Bible verses that the government considers to be politically incorrect.
Okay, yeah, Bill C9 doesn't do that. So we read through Bill C9 when we covered this video initially. And if we look at the summary, this is Bill C9. I will show you that this is in fact Bill C9. Bill C9, right? I will point out that Bill C9 was in 2025, right? We are in 2026. So just to be clear, when he's talking about new is a relative term. So I'm not going to say he's wrong in calling it a new bill, but it is 2025, so it wasn't like yesterday, which seems to be the implication from the question the guy was asking. So perhaps this was not the bill the guy was referring to. I don't know. The summary, which I will briefly go over for you guys, just to quick. I'm not going to reread the whole thing again. I'm just going to briefly remind everybody what this was. We spent hours going over it yesterday and the week before. Summary, this enactment amends the criminal code to, among other things, repeal the requirement that the Attorney General consent to the institution of proceedings for hate propaganda offenses. B, create an offense of willingly promoting hatred against any identifiable group by displaying certain symbols in a public place. C, create a hate crime offense of committing an offense under an act or under that act or any other act of parliament that is motivated by hatred based on certain factors. D, create an offense of intimidating a person in order to impede them from accessing certain places that they're primarily used for worship, religious worship, or by an identifiable group of certain purposes. E, create an offense of intentionally obstructing or interfering with a person's lawful access to such places. All right, so this means the Attorney General does not have to be dealing with every hate speech propaganda thing. So this is streamlining, making court faster. This is this is saying things like a Nazi flag would be considered hate speech. Of course, there are exceptions for like educational purposes or criticisms or entertainment, right? That's all in the exceptions. It's not every instance of a Nazi flag gets you in trouble. It is if you are displaying the flag in a way that is directed and hateful and yada, yada, yada. So it has to meet specific criteria. Create hate crime offense of committing an offense under the act of any kind that is motivated by hatred under certain factors. So this is detailing the factors of which. D is creating an offense of intimidating a person in order to impede them from accessing certain places. So if you are an individual that is impeding a mosque or a Jewish temple or a church, like any kind of like religious building, and you are protesting that group for whatever reason, you cannot be intimidating them or impeding their access to those places. So that's considered, they added that into hate speech. Right? I've always been grateful for your willingness to read all this shit. Thank you. I appreciate hearing that you appreciate my nonsense and my commitment to this fucking stupidity. Because it's really probably not good for me, but I do it anyway because I'm committed. Thank you. I appreciate that. So, yeah, none of this is about Bible verses or censoring. If anything, this is protecting people's access to religion. This is not stopping people from having a belief. This is not telling people what they are and are not allowed to believe. This is not telling people religious activities they can or cannot participate in. It would mean, for example, that you wouldn't be allowed to intimidate as part of a protest against like Scientology, for example. I think Scientology is a religion in Canada. I'm pretty sure it's classified as that. I would have to double check, but I'm pretty sure it is. Never rely on AI to research, especially if it confirms your bias. Yeah, that's a good point. But yeah, none of this says anything about banning any Bible verses whatsoever. Now, somebody yesterday brought into chat at the end of the day that I said I would talk about today, and I want to make sure that I get what they said correct. Because they made an interesting point, and I thought it was valuable to talk about, because they talked about how this bill is undercutting the legs of a legal argument that exists that would no longer be applicable under this law as an argument. So let me just pull up the live stream from yesterday, and I'm just going to jump to the end of it. We don't have to listen to it. I'm just going to go through until I get out of here. It was right near the end. Let me see if I can pull it up. Blah, 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 blah. God, I was tired by the end of the day. Look at me. Ugh, I'm exhausted. Oh, here we go. I'll take up defense of the first claim. So this is for Bill C9. It was by Popog, and they seemed to be making their point in good faith. So I was really happy to see that, and that's nice to see sometimes. They didn't all say, by the way, that they believed this. They're just saying they're willing to try taking up the argument, right? So I don't know what their belief is, so nobody give Pog a hard time, because we don't know that. I don't want anybody to jump to conclusions and jump down this guy's throat when we don't know anything about them. It says, depending on how far you're willing to allow wiggle room on his statement, which is a little bit hyperbolic, which, yeah, fair. I'm willing to accept that. They said, I'm pulling up chat here. Chat is in the left corner of the video. You guys might not be able to see it as well as I can, but is that better? I don't know if that's easy for you to read or not, but that's what we're doing. The main thing is it seems like C9 does reduce the defense available to hate speech prosecution, which is chilling. So there's their comment there. A short version, you say, "Me no like gays," here Bible quote. You lose one of the automatic defenses. So basically, and I repeated their argument to them to make sure that I got their argument correctly. They're saying that if you say that you don't like gay people and somebody charges you for hate speech, which is under the harassment laws, right? Then you can't use the defense, "Here's my Bible verse justifying my hatred." And yes, correct. However, I don't know if this bill does that. That might be a bit of a stretch of this bill in particular, but I don't think it's a stretch for other hate speech laws in Canada. So like Bill C-16 and stuff like that, which encompassed trans people and LGBTQ plus people under protected classes that already existed under our hate speech laws. So our hate speech laws already had things for race, religion, and creed, right? So then they added sexual orientation and sexual identity, and I want to say they added like one or two other things, but I'm not 100% sure, to have to double check. So basically the short end is what that means is those that defense already wouldn't really fly in Canada anyway, and I'm not really sure what part of Bill C-9 makes that not, like, it makes that argument less applicable, right? Keep in mind that if you don't just say "I hate gays" and fucking you get arrested. That's not how that works. Because this isn't compelling belief, or this isn't compelling you to like gay people. That's not what the law says. You're not allowed to do hate speech. So if you're saying "I don't like gays," to the point that you're getting charged with hate speech, what you're doing is falling under harassment, right? So it means that you're not just having a belief, that you're just, I don't know, saying at it, like somebody asked you at a bar and you answered them honestly and just said, "No, I just don't really like gay people." You're not going to get arrested for that. What you will get arrested for is things like following a gay person around and saying how they're going to go to hell and not letting them leave the situation that you found yourself in. That would be a scenario, right? Conversely, if you're at a church, for example, and you go to a church who espouses hatred against LGBTQ plus people, and LGBTQ plus people decide to protest your church, this bill protects your rights to go to that church without them intimidating you or preventing you from accessing your church. So conversely, right? So this bill is in that way protective. Now, there's also like the create an offense of willfully promoting hatred against any identifiable group by displaying certain symbols in a public place. So if, for example, there was a flag that was not like the Nazi flag, right? Because the Nazi flag is the obvious one. So let's just shelve the Nazi flag for a minute. And this is why YouTube hates me, by the way. Oh, Feline, I hope you're okay. Put some ice on it. I didn't put ice on mine. Don't do as I say, not as I do. So if... Well, J.K. Rowling's not Canadian, so she wouldn't... And she's not doing this stuff in Canada, so she wouldn't fall under Canadian law. Espousing hate speech like that on a platform, because none of this stuff is about platforms, really. Right? So some of it is, so like creating an offense of willfully promoting hatred against any identifying group by displaying certain symbols in a public place. In a public place usually doesn't mean online. but sometimes the online sphere will fall under this, and that's like that's where you start getting some of the digital acts and updates, which we did read about in Bill C 18, I think is the act respecting online communications platforms. So like there have been some updates to these types of laws. This is from 2023, but we'll get to that. So whether or not it defines like so for example, if you are espousing hate and like say you're doing what J.K. Rowling does, but you're a Canadian citizen, right? And you're like equally as popular and you're a famous author or whatever. You're in this position of power in society. Canada doesn't give a shit. Canada's never given a shit. In fact, it is well known, at least to Canadians, I don't know if other people know this, it is relatively well known in Canada, particularly in Northern Ontario, that a lot of celebrities vacation in Northern Ontario because nobody gives a fuck about who they are. Nobody fucking cares. So, especially if you're a Canadian celebrity who's in the who's making their money in Hollywood in the United States, all the Canadians will take credit for you being cool, but none of them will give a shit about who you are in Canada. That's why Keanu Reeves can like just take the subway and nobody bothers him. You know what I mean? Like nobody gives a fuck. So if you were to take like somebody at the famous level of J.K. Rowling and they were espousing hatred not just as a position of like their opinion, but as a way to bolster hatred and encourage hatred and build hate-based groups against unidentifiable groups. So it doesn't have to be gay people. It could be black people. It could be Hispanic people. It could be Jewish people. It could be Palestinians. It doesn't matter. So like as you see, the law says any identifiable group, right? So as long as the group is identifiable in nature, right? So it can't just be like random hatred against a person that person is then claiming that hatred is about something. It has to be like unidentifiable group, not necessarily individuals. So, and you're doing that and you're setting that up and you're getting like bigotry and you're spreading it everywhere and let's say your group invents an anti-LGBTQ flag. So it's like a, I don't know, reverse rainbow or some shit with like a gun on it. I don't know. Whatever it is. I don't know. And you're a Canadian citizen. Well, it is not unlikely that Canadians will be like, hey, you don't get to do that. Fuck off. And they can bring a case against you. And if they bring a case against you and they have decent lawyers, then this is the type of law that would come into play, right? Creating an offense of willfully promoting hatred against any identifiable group by displaying certain symbols in a public place. Now, the hard part of that would be establishing that the flag that you invented, this new flag, is in fact what they're claiming it is, that it is specifically like an anti-hatred specifically against LGBTQ people. But that would have to be doled out in court by lawyers. This is simply the law that would be in place. Not necessarily that it would succeed. But with the additional laws of Bill C 22, right? So this one's a newer one. If you add Bill C-22 to Bill C-9, because Bill C-22 lets you access people's metadata of like where, when, and what accounts. If you're using multiple accounts and you're making a hate group on the internet and you have multiple accounts and you're sending like phishing and harassing emails, the Canadian government can get that metadata. And they can get that metadata either from you, and if you're not willing, and they can get a warrant for it, and they can get it from you, and if you're not willing to comply with the warrant, you can face fines. And if you're still not willing to comply with the warrant and face jail time and stuff, then they can go to your internet service provider and get that metadata from them. Now, they're not going to be able to see that warrant is not going to allow them to see the content of the email that you sent, but they'll be able to see where you sent it from, when you sent it from, who you sent it to, where you were logged in, what account, etc., etc., etc. They can see that metadata. They can't see the content of the message. Now, that might not matter. So that is a big deal because it does not fucking allow you to see what the hell. It doesn't allow them to see and charge you for what you've said in your email. But what it can do is that if you are using a sock account, it could confirm an email that the victim of this hate speech or whatever received came from you. So they're already submitting the content as evidence, but then the police have a warrant to find the metadata of that email to see if it came from you. Right? Do you see how these kinds of bills can work in conjunction? But you notice what none of these bills that we're talking about are? Censorship. This doesn't stop you from having an opinion. This doesn't stop you from doing journalism. This doesn't stop you from sharing your opinion. This doesn't enforce you or tell you to believe or disbelieve in any specific religious anything. It doesn't stop you from believing Buddhism. It doesn't stop you from believing Jainism. It doesn't stop you from believing Tao. It doesn't stop you from believing Islam. It doesn't stop you from believing Christianity or Jewish traditions. It doesn't. None of these things say anything that you say you're not allowed to hold a specific belief or you're not allowed to have an opinion. None of these things say that. In fact, some of them actually say that they want to help encourage journalistic integrity and communications. Right? So yeah, there's nothing in Bill C9 that says anything about banning a Bible verse. At all. Nowhere. Nothing. Zero. All zero things. Now here's the thing. And this is like the bigger problem, right? The bigger problem is that there are reasons to be concerned about these bills and their application. Right? You could be like, you know what, I don't like this limiting of protesting because now I can't be as aggressive in protesting against Scientology, for example. Right? Just as an example, right? There are reasons to have criticisms about these laws. The reason why I'm picking on Pierre Poilievre so much about this is because he's supposed to be the opposition. He's supposed to provide good reasons why these laws shouldn't go through so people can make informed decisions in voting the directions of these laws. And maybe if people knew what decent arguments there were against these laws or concerns that people have, then these laws wouldn't go through. But these laws go through with zero actual fucking contention or zero contest because his reasoning is complete horseshit. It's just nonsense. And like the lawmakers know it's nonsense, and the people in parliament know it's nonsense. And the people who are looking at Pierre Poilievre and thinking this isn't nonsense are he's just banking on people not reading the bill. Why? Because he talks for 2 minutes and it took me 10 hours to go through everything. Yeah, he's also an easy target. Like, my guy, go munch on an apple. Like, fuck off. Brick says I should have moved to Canada years ago. If I could go back, I would have stayed over the bridge when we used to hop it at 19 to drink. Yo, valid. It should just stayed over, yeah? Yeah, do it. Hey, listen, there's nothing stopping you from hopping that border right now. Only thing stopping you is you. And so, like, this is my problem. My problem with Pierre Poilievre isn't that I necessarily, like, don't like conservative ideas, or that I think being a conservative is wrong, or I think being a conservative makes you a bad person. I don't think any of those things. I don't like Pierre Poilievre because I think he's bad at representing what conservatism was, and what conservatism is supposed to be, and what the opposition should be doing. And he does a bad job. And, like, fucking conservatives just fucking support this guy because they're dumb. And I'm like, why you stop being dumb? Like, you don't need to be stupid on behalf of this man. You don't have to be dumb on behalf of Pierre Poilievre. You can have your own opinions that have conservative ties to them and are conservative, coming from a conservative direction without fucking lowering yourself to support whatever stupid shit comes out of this man's mouth. You don't need to do that. That's what Williams got here. William says liberals have back up. I'm sorry. Do you want to try that again? I'm sorry. This is not a. What are you saying? I'll read what it says, but like I'm struggling with your cadence here. Putting it kindly. Liberals have back up by NDP, then getting a majority. Conservatives can't do anything. You're a. My guy, we're looking at a bill from before Carney was the prime minister. This one is from 2025, before Carney had a majority. Bill C-11 is from 2023. Bill C-22 is 2025 to 2026, so this is the recent one, right? Bill C-18 is from 2021, 2022, and 2023 when it was passing. So this was not passed when the Liberal government had a majority. Sir, this is a Wendy's. William, you do not have to lower yourself. You don't have to bend over backwards and make yourself be dumb on behalf of Pierre Poilievre. You're smarter than this. You can find out when bills he says are from. Cheshire, what a burn. Oh, I know. How am I ever going to recover from this? Oh, goodness gracious me. I don't disagree with every conservative policy that goes out there. But you're a, meaning the belongs to Chesh. Oh, shit. Oh. You're A. I'm A? EHA? UHA? My Tim Allen impression is on point. By Tim Allen, I mean Tim the Toolman Taylor. Thank you very much. Or what? You're what? Hey, welcome, Warner Shot. What's going on? But like, we're here to discuss these things and talk about how they're applicable and how they're not. So, can you tell me where in Bill C-9 does it say anything about banning Bible verses? I read the whole thing. C9 is easy too. C9 is only 10 pages long on the PDF, right? And they're half pages because the other half is French. So it's really only 5 pages worth of reading. So, like, William, have you read Bill C-9? It's only 5 pages. And, like, to be fair, page 1 is just the title. So, like, if you don't count the title, and this is only half of a page, and then at the bottom, there's, like, a whole nother blank page, I'm pretty sure. So, yeah, there's, like, another half a page and 2 blank pages. So, if you were to take out the 2 blank pages, what did I say? 2 blank pages, and the title page for 3 blank pages, and then half a page for 2 pages. So, that'd be 3, 4... It's like 4 pages that you could take off of 10, which you divide by 2 for the French side for 5. So you're really actually only reading like half a page. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, you're like reading like 2 full pages of content. Okay, so the Bible verse isn't banned, but you are really reading... But are you really reading a Bible verse if you're not having armed goons hold someone down while you scream it to into their faces? Man, I guess not. I guess not. I guess that's really the only way. That's really the only way to get the Bible across, right? Cyanide instead of C9. Oh man, you know, to be fair, instead of, you know, actually reading these bills. Hey Gun, have you read Bill C9? Valuable information. It's okay, Gun, I believe in you. You've read Bill C9, right? Has anybody, can anybody in there who's in the chat who has read Bill C9 either on their own or has actually, like, listened to somebody else read out the whole thing or whatever? So if you, like, watch me doing it, that counts. What, you can't get past my 62 IQ? That's so bad. That's so sad. So unfortunate. Oh, a stretch. Oh, bless. Thank you very much. I'll agree. See, as soon as you ask any of these people a basic question about the thing they're bitching about, they run away. Have you read it? Have you read the less than 10 pages? Oh, I gotta go, guys. Oh, yeah, You're scared? To the surprise of nobody. Scared of reading. Imagine that. I listened to you read it. Yeah, if you listen to me read it, that counts. Put your hand up if you read it. Or listen to me read it, or listen to somebody else read it. I don't mean just did commentary on it, I mean like they actually read the fucking thing. Gotta go fast. Oh, I need the running away fucking sound from fucking Pokemon. Hold on. I had that saved. Shit, I didn't actually download and get it on the soundboard yet. Hold on, I need it. I need it for Gun. Here you go, Gun. I got you, fam. Mr. Krabs. Mr. Krabs running away. I don't know that one. I didn't really watch SpongeBob. This one? Is that the one you're talking about? I was thinking the Zoidberg would be good though. I think that one would be good, right? Let me pull that one up. Alright, you guys can vote.
Nice, you could also get an ink pouch to help you escape your enemies.
That's the stupidest idea I've ever heard, you imbecile.
Nice, you could also...
That one might be a good one. Alright, I'll let you guys vote. I'll make a poll. I'll make a poll in the community tab, and you guys can pick which one you want. Do you want the Zoidberg running away, Mr. Krabs running away, or Pokemon run away from a battle sound? Oh, Shaggy Scooby-Doo, that's a good one too. Alright, I'll add that to the poll. I'm making a poll right now. Cause like these guys come in too often. Which running away sound effect should we use for hashtag bitchmadelive? Question mark. Alright, text poll. We've got Zoidberg. We've got Pokemon Run. Well, okay, I'm just gonna call it Pokemon, Zoidberg, Scooby-Doo, and Mr. Krabs. Alright? Just make it randomized. We could randomize it too. We'll see how the poll goes first, alright? I think I spelled Zoidberg wrong. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Zoidberg. It's got a D in it. Zoidberg. Scooby-Doo. Alright. Poll is up. I will send you guys a link to the poll. Share. Okay, here you guys go. You guys can go and vote on this poll if you want. Making it randomized would be fun, but that's like work on my end that I have to set up a thing for that. Haven't heard someone read it. I don't have the brain power to be able to read the legal document, but so I haven't read it. But with how much the P-Peaster himself lies, not shocked he did again. Yeah, that's fair. Brave Sir Robin. Brave Sir Robin bravely ran away. That one's copyright. I'll get in I'll have to, like, that one will have to get cut all the time if I use that one, unfortunately. Unfortunately. That is a good one, but that one will get me, that one's, this is a pain in the butt. Anyway, yeah, so Bill C, what was I getting at? Bill C-19 doesn't say this. So, what are you gonna do about it, Pierre Polyev supporters? What are you gonna do that Bill C-16 literally doesn't say anything about this and doesn't even say anything close to it? The answer is nothing. They're gonna say, you're dumb, and run away, because they're literally too incompetent to read 10 pages worth of fucking shit.
With the old C11, which is the Online Streaming Act, which allows the
P-Peaster, that's gold. You're using it? Yeah, P-Peaster is really good. I like that. Sorry, I cut him off. Go on.
The old C11, which is the Online Streaming Act, which allows the government to manipulate algorithms to promote content it wants you to see and demote other content it does not want you to see.
Okay, so Bill C-11 literally restrictions, computer algorithm, or source code. The Commission shall not make an order under paragraph 1E that would require the use of a specific computer algorithm or code. This is on page 20. It's number 8 in Bill C-11. This document literally says that it's written in that you can't do the thing he just said. So, oh, Team Rocket's blasting out again is a good one. That's good, I like that. It's a good suggestion. Yeah, copyright sucks. Copyright laws are built to basically upward mobility profit from creative endeavors. And creative endeavors are currently used to be like profit or who cares, which is not the way creative endeavors should work, but it is. Because we live in a capitalist hellscape. But you know, that's okay. So yeah, I kind of want to play what he said again, but really slow. Like, if I put the, can I like playback speed, slow him down? Go slower. Slower. Go slow. Oh.
The old C11, which is the Online Streaming Act, which allows the government to manipulate algorithms to promote content it wants you to see and demote other content it does not want you to see.
Sorry. Oh my god. Yeah. Polyev, sure. Yeah. Hui. That's, yeah, it literally says the opposite. This is what my sleep paralysis demon sounds like. So what do you do when a politician lies like this? Right? And at what level, yeah, drink for Trojan source. At what level do you consider this a lie, right? Because there, to me, you've got two options, right? Either he knows that's not what it says and then lied about it, or he didn't read it, doesn't know what it says, and is telling you what it says, even though he doesn't actually know because he hasn't read it. You're gonna clip that? Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. So, like, which do you think is more likely? Do you think it's more likely that he knows what it says and is lying, or do you think that he's gotten a briefing about it and somebody told him something and he's just running with it and he hasn't actually read it? Because I will also remind you that the old Bill C-11, the one we're looking at, right? That's this one. The old Bill C-11 is from 2021. Like, it started in 2021. It officially passed in 2023. He would be held responsible for what he said anyway. Yes, I agree. I think he should be held responsible for that kind of shit. He absolutely knows what he said and lies because who's actually going to read the bill? Okay, this is the thing that bothers me. It's not that he's lying, right? It's not that he's lying about what's in the bill that bothers me that much. Like, I get that politicians are going to do stupid shit like that and you want to represent blah, 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 blah. I get that. His reasoning for doing it, the thing that bothers me about it is that his reasoning is sound, because who's gonna actually fucking read the bill? Who's gonna actually read the fucking bill and be able to understand it? Right? The problem is, the thing that frustrates me is he's right. He's correct. And people are not going to read the bill, and people are not going to know what's inside of it, and people are not going to, like, that he's right, or people are just going to believe him anyway. We already had 2 people come in here, and he's straight up lying to their faces, and they're just debasing themselves, butt in the air, asshole gaping, and coming to my side chat as if that I should think that that's impressive. My guy. No, not even a little bit. Remember, he said they're talking about new bills. Bill C9 is from 2025. Bill C11 that he brings up is from 2021 to 2023. Who's going to read the bill? We are. Yeah, you got it, Olivia. We're going to do the work. We're going to do it. With the 14 people watching, with the 7 people that were watching me do it live. Wow. That's really going to make that big of a difference, right? I mean, it's nice to know. I guess we get to be superior because we were able to read, fucking 10 pages of Bill C9. Ooh. But, like, come on. Are you kidding? There were 200 views on the video on the 10-hour stream from yesterday. Right? And how long do you think people were watching for on average? For 10 hours. To go through all of the bills. That wasn't even all of them. That was 3 out of the 4. Right? He lists Bill C9, C11, C22, and 18, and we'd already done 9. Yeah, I'll give you the analytics. I'll show you. During the 10-hour stream, none. No, nobody came to argue about the legalese. Because they know they're fucked. Nobody came to argue about the legalese. Of course not. Content. Lives. I don't get paid enough for this shit, is basically what I'm getting at. The analytics of this video are right here. This is what it looks like. This is the views. This is the watch time. Concurrent viewers. The clip button's not there? That's weird. I don't know what that's about. Audience retention isn't even up yet. But I mean, you can do the math of 200 people and a watch time of 140.5 hours. right? And then it flatlines, right? Look, yesterday 25, 30, and then 0, 2, 0, 2, 0, 2, 1, 2. I can show you the Twitch analytics if you want to see the Twitch analytics. I see the... Nope. The super mega long stream about legal stuff has 0 views on it. So those are the views counted after the fact. Unless it's this one, which is 32. Nope, it's this one. Yep, July 21st. 10 hours, 23 minutes, 22 seconds. Now, if I make a clip out of this, and I make a smaller video, and I go, here's Bill C9, here's what he said, here's this, and I make a clip of it, and then I make a clip of fucking what he just said about C11 with the fucking this bill says this thing. Yeah, that might get some views on it. Sure. But you see the point. You see the point that I'm going to spend 10 hours reading through all of this stuff to even get those little clips that maybe will get 1,000 views on them. Meanwhile, the video we're watching where he bullshits about this has spikes at the most replayed spots about freedom of control of these censorship bills on a channel or on a video that has 62,248 views. On 2 different YouTube channels. One has 601,000 subscribers, and the other one has 15.2k subscribers. I don't have 5k. So what's the point, guys? What's the point? You tell me. Because there is. I think there is. There's reasons for doing the things that I do. But I'll give you a minute to think about it. I'm going to give you a minute to think about it. I'm going to make more tea. And you tell me, what is the point of this fucking shit? You tell me. You tell me. Convince me. I won't just leave you with a chair. I'll put some fucking music on. welcome back. Hi. The clip button's not there? That's weird. Oh, the recipe's posted. Thanks. Alright, so let's take a look at what you guys said. Go away. PP isn't a system engineer. The best could be said is that he doesn't know the difference between requirements and algorithms, but no, he probably is just believing his own lies. Yeah, the problem is with that too, right? Like, if you're correct, which, you know, you might be. Like, I'm not disagreeing with you. The problem with that is that if that is the case, then he needs to consult an expert about laws that he's voting on. You didn't like this background music? You don't like Office Block, Ghost in the Shell, Standalone Complex? Oh. Perhaps it's not that the bills are too dense. Yeah, is it the people? Conservative circle jerks. Oh, yeah, there's that. Capitalism, serving slop since 1776. You didn't like it? I don't know, I wasn't listening, I walked away, so... Maybe somebody will be honest and hear your message, and that's about all I got. Ugh. Do I even have a message? What is my message? I think my message is, you don't know what you're fucking talking about. And if you're gonna lie, lie well. Don't waste my time. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even care if people vote for Mark Carney or the Liberals or the NDP or the fucking the fucking what the fuck, the Conservatives or whoever. I don't vote whoever you want. I don't give a shit. But like, don't be a fucking idiot asshole about it. Like, good God, man. Like, don't try to bullshit me. I mean, to some degree, it's a little bit entertaining, right? I mean, it's not entertaining to listen to 10 hours of me reading out legal jargon, but even this legal jargon is not that long, right? Like, a lot of this, you know, like Bill C9 is super short, right? Bill C11 is 56 pages long, so it's not super duper huge either. And like, the summary on it is pretty good. And you can skip a whole chunks of it. Like, whole chunks of it are just like the paperwork and updating paperwork, and that's like, who cares, right? The Bill C-22 is laws respecting lawful access, which is the updating the criminal code. To the summary of it is, hey, we're gonna add access to metadata to our pre-existing warrant laws, which is admittedly a little bit more complicated. Like, 22 is more dense and has more things that could come across as problematic in them, particularly if you don't contextually understand what they're talking about. So, like, this one is a little bit dense, and I could understand people not necessarily understanding Bill C-22 by itself, right? So this one I can understand needing somebody to like read through it and sort of go through this one a little bit more, you know what I mean? Whereas Bill C-18 is also only 50 pages long, which again, these are half pages, keep in mind, because like, the other half of the page is in French. So when something is 50 pages, it's actually only 25. Right? And it's in like relatively large font, and like it's relatively spaced out. Like, this is not size 12 font. This is not hard, and these are relatively like easy reads. Like, there is some legal jargon, but a lot of the times the legal jargon is explained within the bill, and even when it's not, the one thing we had to look up for, I think, was that Bill C-18 or Bill C-22? We had to look up what they meant. I think it was 22. We had to look up what digital data or data was, data transfer. Like, what data were they talking about? And we just had to look that up in the criminal code. But at the same time, they said that in this. They were like, this word means what it means in this code. So it means the same thing. So we just had to go and look up the code to find out what the definition was, right? And yeah, there's wiggle room in laws, but I feel like people forget there's supposed to be like wiggle room in laws. You're supposed to be able to make arguments one way or another about an activity. The law isn't supposed to cover every situation. It's supposed to be a baseline of societal function that people are able to argue under the umbrella of. So there should be laws that, like, well, this law doesn't contradict this law, but if somebody does this in this way, they might be able to use this other law to defend themselves from this one, right? Like, that's the way laws are for. And if they didn't have wiggle room, right, exactly, Finland is right. People would just find ways to circumvent it and find loopholes as opposed to, like, operating underneath it, right? And yeah, SAR has it exactly. The part of the problem is that it takes so long to parse this bullshit and people are lazy and would rather just listen to their favorite man say. And yes, it's almost always in a man. Well, yeah, there's also that. There's the bias in that regard as well, right? So, I mean, I guess part of, like, the question is... Well, I guess we can finish whatever fucking Pierre Poilievre is saying, right? Because we only covered 2 of these censorship bills. Again, none of them are censorship bills, but let's see what the next thing he says is and see if we could parse anything from it.
With C-22, which basically turns giant tech companies into surveillance enterprises for the government.
It doesn't do surveillance at all. It allows for a warrant to be given to surveil metadata by either companies or by yourself that you are required to fall under, but there are circumstances under which you have to prove that warrant is something that's necessary, and it still doesn't surveil you. Like, it doesn't, like, access your camera, it doesn't access your microphone, not in this bill at least, not in bill C-22. And again, this is also under a warrant, under specific circumstances that have to be argued for. And so even if you are under investigation and there is a warrant that has been given to get access to your metadata, then if you get brought to court and you have a lawyer, it's your lawyer's job to ensure that warrant was obtained rightfully under the rule of law and then argue against it one way or another. Because if they successfully argue that the warrant was invalid, all of that information and tracking they did on you is invalid in court. And on top of that, they can only surveil you for a maximum of 60 days. Unless there is other specific circumstances of a larger investigation that is already going on related to terrorism and organized crime. So, like, now you have to wonder, okay, well, is the term organized crime or terrorism too broad of a term? And maybe it is, but that is no longer an issue about this bill. That is an issue about what is considered terrorism in Canadian law. And you might have a really good argument about that. You might have a really good discussion about that. But it's a shame that that's not what Pierre Poilievre is saying. He would rather fearmonger you about this bill than be specific about what an actual real issue might be about this bill in regards to the definition of what terrorism is, because that's a harder conversation to have. Which is unfortunate, because that should be the conversation we're having, because if you really want laws that protect your citizens, and you don't want the surveillance state, which he's claiming exists now already, which he didn't successfully stop, he's complaining that this went through, well, he's the opposition, and he never brought up any issues with the fucking definition of terrorism as far as I'm aware, and he could be talking about that, and he's not. So clearly that's not really an issue here, is it? Like I said, there are criticisms you could have about this law that aren't the issues that he's referring, like this is not the issue. There are valid and very real criticisms you could have for these laws. Unfortunately, those things don't get represented in Parliament because you've got fucking this chuckle fuck running around.
To numerous other bills that they've brought forward that, for C-18, for example, C-18 makes it so that a lot of independent media outlets can't even get on Instagram and Facebook anymore. And where they...
He's saying this isn't true either. Bill C-18 said that people who go around and make content available for Canadians and predominantly Canadian market for news broadcasting have to pay the outlets for the content that they're using. Now, from my understanding, and I didn't dig too deep into this, so maybe I'm wrong. So if you want to go do the research on it, you can. I'm not going to, because I feel like I've already put in my legwork for this. if Facebook and Instagram opted out, then it's not preventing CBC from having a Facebook account. It means that Facebook has opted out of negotiating with CBC to be allowed to utilize CBC's content. And that CBC is an example. It could be the National Post. It could be like whatever news broadcasting outlet you're referring to. Group or groups, plural. So, like, if Facebook, you can't write a law forcing Facebook to pay money that has been rightfully earned by news outlets, and you can't force the news outlets to give their product away for free to these places like Facebook, who is making money off of them. Mark Zuckerberg is worth $220 billion, and this schmuck doesn't want to shill out like a couple 100,000 to be able to host the news on his to pay for the content that's making more money for his fucking platform? That sounds like a business problem, not a fucking government issue. The government made it so that way Facebook would be obligated to pay for a service they were using, and offer to be the arbitrator and the arbiter of those negotiations if they weren't able to negotiate themselves. But if Facebook decides and chooses that it does not want to participate, it does not have to do that. And has it really been much of a loss? This law has been in effect since 2023. Are there any Canadians out there that get their news from Facebook? Their Canadian news from Facebook? Because probably not. Is that a bad thing? I don't think so. I don't think it's a bad result. It might mean Facebook gets less free money from, in some cases, taxpayer-funded endeavors, like the CBC, for example. TVO streams to YouTube. What's my Throne account? Yeah, I don't use Facebook. Yeah, nobody fucking... Facebook is very much not in popular use in Canada anymore. Is that a bad thing? I don't think so. Why do we have to mollycoddle Mark Zuckerberg, Instagram, and Facebook? Is there a reason why we should? I don't think so. I don't see any reason why why we should mollycoddle this man. This man is a super billionaire who's supposed to be uber smart, right? That's how he got all of his money. So, like, if he's a super uber billionaire who's super uber smart, why the fuck do we need to mollycoddle his ass? Huh? Oh, we don't? We shouldn't? There's no reason to? So why the fuck is the leader of the opposition of a government party in Canada fucking bending over backwards for an American billionaire? Hundreds of billions, not hundreds, plural, of billions. Not like $1 billion, hundreds of billions. Not $1 billion, not $2 billion, not $10 million, not $100 billion, $220 billion. $220 billion. Do we know how much money $220 billion is? Thank you, Sarah. I appreciate that. I haven't had Twitter in years. Bro, I've only got Twitter because I'm stuck in some court horse shit. Once that's gone, I can't wait to no longer be there. I'm only gonna post Debate Hub stuff. Ugh. I got family who use Facebook to get local news, but by that I mean neighborhood local. Yeah, like a local Facebook group. So like whatever city you live has a Facebook group. You know, there's probably a subreddit for it too, and the subreddit is probably gonna be a better spot. But I don't know for sure where you live. So, like, there are uses. There are uses for Facebook. There are uses for Twitter. There are uses for these things. But to utilize them as a news source of news, it's not great. Hell, even a lot of news stations aren't really covering the news anymore. And there's this really bad thing that's going on right now, and I hope it goes away soon, where news broadcasters, like not the person presenting the news presenter, the anchor is a personality. And it's like, fuck. And then that personality is now also an influencer. And I'm like, don't. Just tell me the news. I want the news to be boring. I want it to be dry. Please do not spice it up for me. I just want information. I don't mind if news places want to have opinion shows. That's fine. Have your opinion shows. But I should be able to just get the fucking news. Yeah. 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 Hey, Landon, welcome. It hurts his precious little feelings when someone gets a job, sells a table, finds a room or a roommate, talks to neighbors, or plans coffee event without using Facebook. Ugh, I know, right? How dare? How dare people participate socially without Mark Zuckerberg's beady little eyes all over it? Well, one other thing that Bill C-22 did was it meant that the government didn't need, or the police force didn't need a warrant to gather public information. So if you post something on Twitter, just in general, that's considered public information. So the content of what you posted and the metadata for that is considered public information. They don't need a warrant to get it. Which you may or may not think is a good idea or a bad idea, because that metadata is not as accessible as, like, the content, right? So, like, it's not usually, like, the location and stuff is hidden to the outward eye, but not to Twitter or not to Facebook, for example. They have that data. And so, like, that is just saying that that data is not private anymore. Or, I mean, it never was, but then now they're saying that that data is no longer needs a warrant to obtain. They can just go get it. And that, like, Twitter or Facebook would be obligated to comply with handing that over. But, you know. I wish you could just get the effing news. I know! I wish I could just go somewhere to get the effing news. Can I just have the information? I don't want your opinion. I just want the information. Bias in news meant a bias in what you were reporting and, like, a little bit of how you were reporting it. So you might report more on this type of thing than this type of thing. And now bias just means we're just fucking being assholes, but to everybody about that we don't like. It's like, oh. Good. Great. Fantastic. Love that for me. I mean, I'm not saying I don't want any bias. Bias is going to exist, but please, for the love of God, can we have a little bit more journalistic integrity? That'd be great. I'd appreciate that. Alright, let's see the last thing that this man said so we can shit on him a little bit more, because this was also a lie.
The only place in the world where that's the case, or the only democracy in the world where that's the case.
I'm not sure if that's true either. I am not sure if Facebook... I'm sure there are other news outlets that no longer utilize Facebook. Because this bill doesn't kick Facebook off. Like, this bill doesn't kick, like, news outlets from Canada from being on Facebook. It just makes it so that Facebook can't have their content for free. Yeah, agree. I don't even care what either side thinks. Just give me the information, right? I want all three things. I want to know what this side thinks. I want to know what this side thinks. I want to know what the general populace thinks. But I also just want the fucking information. So I would really appreciate it if those things could be, like, categorized. So I could be like, all right, this is where I just get the information if I just want the information. And I will read through that or listen to that or get that, right? And then if I want to know what the left thinks about it, I will go to lefty sources. If I want to know what the right thinks about it, I'll go to righty sources. If I want to know what the populace thinks about it, I'll watch a show with somebody running around at different bars asking people what their thoughts are about it. That'd be great. Could definitely use less clickbait titles. Ugh. Yeah, if all hell breaks loose one more time and it's not actually all hell breaks loose, I'ma lose it. Yeah, so you mean if all hell breaks loose one more time and hell's not actually breaking loose, then you're going to... then hell's gonna break loose? You're gonna ensure that that happens? I don't know. CTV News isn't too bad with that when they do like the evening news and such, but it's like nothing really up to my ideal standards. Yeah, there are stations and places that are better at it than others. I just think the overall standard needs to be raised. Yeah, ground news is pretty good for that. Yeah. Been working on, pun intended, to start an internet vacation soon. We'll be doing debate pub and hub volcano show. Oh yeah, nice. You're gonna take a break. That's good. Do it. Take a break. Internet breaks are important. So yeah, I'm not really sure if that's true. Especially since what he's saying isn't true to begin with. You know what I mean? So it's a hard statement to verify, I guess.
So we're fighting for free speech. I'm a free speech champion.
No, you're not. No, you're not. You're not even a little bit. You're a big old baby. If you were a free speech champion, you wouldn't be out here limiting the questions that are allowed to be asked of you at press releases. And limiting which people are allowed to ask questions and what those questions are. Well, also LARPing like you're at like a big group. Don't bullshit me. Like that's not even, like I said, that's not even a good lie.
I believe that people should be able to decide what they think. They should be allowed to think thoughts that I don't agree with, that the government finds outrageous, and that is the only way free speech. It is the only way speech actually matters, if you're allowed to say things that the government does not want you to say.
Free speech and hate speech are different types of things. So free speech, again, we're back to the allegory. Your hand is allowed to swing as far and as hard as you want until it hits my face. Your freedom to swing that arm ends when it hits my face. Right? Like, same with words. You're allowed to say and believe whatever you want, but that doesn't mean there aren't consequences to harassing somebody, because that has nothing to do with the government. If you're running around talking about how much you hate gay people and LGBTQ plus people and you're harassing them, that is not a free speech issue, because you're not out here being critical of the government. You're harassing people based off the fucking, like, color of their skin. Things they cannot control. That you don't get to fucking do that. That is not part of freedom of speech in regards to the fucking government. My fucking guy. Yeah, he is not a free speech champion. Yeah, he is. He is not. You're correct. He is absolutely a stinker. Only in America, as far as I know, is hate speech protected, but they still have citation of violence laws. There's also they also have harassment laws and defamation and libel in the United States. So there is speech that is not that is not under free speech protection in the United States. So it's not like the United States has a full fucking free speech absolutism. It doesn't have that. Because free speech absolutism doesn't fucking work. And it's not functional for society. It's the paradox of tolerance, right? You cannot tolerate intolerance. As soon as you tolerate intolerance, the intolerance takes over. Because why wouldn't it? Ugh. Please tell me Feline said ... because I just said exactly what they were typing again. Is that what just happened? No rights exist as an absolute. Yeah, only Sith deal in absolute. Like, it doesn't work. You can't do that shit. It does not function. It doesn't work. And it doesn't, and like, we know it doesn't work because we've tried it. We've tried things like this before. We've tried authoritarian populism. It doesn't work. We've tried fucking deportation, concentration camps. It doesn't work. It's not good. It doesn't help anybody. It's bad for society. Why? It's bad for society. It doesn't work. Concentration camps are bad. Genocides are bad. Don't do these things. Oppression is bad. It's not good for society. Diversity is good. Ethno-state's bad. And I'm not saying this because I have any particular belief about any particular race or group. I'm saying this Because we've tried it and it's not pragmatic. It doesn't work. Ugh. Have you considered my tradition? Ugh. 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 What about that free speech NFL that NFL player who like took a knee and then like lost his career and shit because Donald Trump was grumpy that he took a knee? Is that the one you're talking about, Feline? Conservatives are loose with the football. This time. Hey, can we get footballs in the chat? Football emojis. Yeah, that would have been freedom of speech, which should have been protected. Yeah, Colin Kaepernick, that was his name. That should have been protected, and it wasn't. Right? He was isolated. He was socially ostracized in his workplace and wasn't given all kinds of work, wasn't given, like, dropped from various things. So, like, free speech absolutist would have been chill with that, and the fucking... The conservatives were the one doing the cancel culture. Surprise, surprise, surprise. I mean, we all know that it's hypocrisy at its best, where they're intolerant, but they expect you to tolerate their intolerance. So they're like, oh, you're doing cancel culture because you don't agree with me or you're criticizing me. And it's like, no, I'm hearing out what Pierre Poilievre has to say. Did I say he shouldn't be aired? No. Did I say he shouldn't be allowed to say whatever he says? No. I'm saying there should be consequences for blatantly lying about, like, legal content in politics when you are of a person holding his type of station in the country. I think there should be consequences for this. Because this is just blatantly lying in some of these things. Some of them you could be a little bit more vague about. Maybe you'd need a better lawyer to argue about whether or not Facebook and Bill C-18, whether or not that's a lie, because that could just be like vaguity nonsense. Like, Facebook not having Canadian news ended up being the result of this bill, but that's not what the bill says, right? So you might be able to get away with that one, right? But you're definitely not going to get away with the fucking Bill C-20, the fucking surveillance statement about Bill C-22, and you're definitely no way you should be able to get away with what he said about Bill C-11 and Bill C-9. Bill C-9, he claimed, banned Bible verses. It doesn't. And Bill C-11 claiming that it says that the government can control algorithms when it explicitly says that the government cannot control algorithms. And those two things ought to be fucking, have consequences, because that's just a straight up fucking lie. Just a straight up fucking lie. And do you not agree? Do people not agree that a politician, if they straight up fucking lie to you directly about what your laws say in your country, just for whatever reason, I don't even care what the reason is. Do you not think that under these circumstances, this should be, like, criminalized? Because you know what that would be? Not free speech absolutism, because you can't just say whatever the fuck you want. Lying, defamation, libel, hate speech, harassment, none of these things are protected under free speech. Quote, it was fine to stop Colin Kaepernick's freedom of speech chesh. He was black. Most conservatives' minds at this time. I know, right? It's gross. It's gross. Doesn't the states have hate crime laws? I mean, it depends on the state, right? They're not ubiquitous. So, like, some of the stuff we're looking at, or the bills that we're looking at, are federal laws for us, not provincial laws. I propose a bill banning the Budweiser WhatsApp commercial reference me and memes. I think you probably don't need a bill for that. You can probably just sue them for copyright. Landon says PP, when he was in power as a minister, championed making it harder for Canadians to vote. The inmate expression of free speech. No, that's not what that says. Intimate expression of free speech. Sorry. Inmate. Intimate expression of free speech. Yeah, making it harder to vote is not a good thing in general. Generally, you want voting to be as easy as possible. Have you considered conservatives are special little boys that deserve privileges over those damn commies? No, I didn't consider that. You know what? I didn't even cross my mind. Hey, Popa, you're here. We chatted about what you brought up yesterday. We can chat about it again, though. I'm happy to do that. Conservatives got so pissed and boycott Bud Light now due to Dylan. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, we went and pulled up what you said. Can neither confirm or deny. Yeah, no, I do be like that. Is that supposed to be an orange and a dodgeball? I don't know if I understand the reference. Here in body, but not in mind. Yeah, it do be like that. The inmate expression of free speech. They say fuck you and fuck the system, from what I heard. Listen, raging against the machine. Here in mind, but not in body. So did I win or what? Oh, so I'll talk about it again. So if I remember correctly, and if I quoted you properly, which I did go and look up, but I don't have it pulled up anymore, was you had said that in defense of his statement about Bill C9, banning specific biblical texts, that it removes an argument to be made if somebody says they don't like gay people, for example, and they cited a Bible source to defend themselves from a hate speech charge. Is that correct? Confirm that I got it right. Conservative snowflakes need their safe spaces. Oh, confirmed. Okay, cool. So I looked back at Bill C9 because I had to refresh my memory, and I read through the synopsis just to give myself a refresher because I had already read the whole bill. But I'll just go over it real quick for you guys. House of Commons Bill C9. It's 2025 Act to amend the Criminal Code, hate propaganda, hate crime, and access to religious or cultural places. September of 2025. The summary for this one is this enactment amends the criminal code to, among other things, A, repeal the requirement that the Attorney General consent to the institution of proceedings for hate propaganda offenses. B, create an offense of willfully promoting hatred against any identifiable group by displaying certain symbols in a public place. C, create a hate crime offense of committing an offense under that act or any other act of parliament that is motivated by hatred based on certain factors. D, create an offense of intimidating a person in order to impede them from accessing certain places that are primarily used for religious worship or by an identifiable group for certain purposes. And E, create an offense of intentionally obstructing or interfering with a person's lawful access to such a place. And I will scroll down so you can see that is back at the end of the summary, and then it goes on to the bill itself. Now, I read through the whole thing, and I can give you like a little bit more detail of what each of these summary points are. So you can trust me or not trust me. If you don't trust me, read it for yourself. It's only 10 pages, and they're only half pages. It's like literally like maybe 3 or 4 pages worth of text. You can do it. I believe in you. Or you can listen to me read it if you go watch another video. But A, repeal the requirement that the Attorney General consent to the institution of proceedings for hate propaganda offenses. This just streamlines court proceedings. That just makes court proceedings faster so they don't have to rope the Attorney General in for every instance of this situation, right? This is a lot of laws don't require the attorney general's consent to the institution of proceedings. Like that, there's plenty of things that do that. They just move this into streamline, right? That's not an issue, I don't think. B, create an offense of willfully promoting hatred against any identifiable group by displaying certain symbols in a public place. So this, for example, would be something like the Nazi flag. The Nazi flag is like the first thing that comes to everybody's mind, and also it's the one they use as the example in the document. So that doesn't ban you from disliking gay people, and nor does it ban you from saying like from holding up like John 3:16 at a park or whatever. Now, if you were to say, for example, run around with a Bible verse on like a sign, and it's like an interpretation of a Bible verse that says like gay people are going to burn in hell or whatever, and you were following gay people around or people who you believed were gay with it, then you would, like, that might escalate to the point of it being harassment and criminal harassment in the federal sense. So we already have to talk about how, like, it takes a few things to get you to the level that you would be charged with a crime, right? Not, like, just because you fucking believe it, right? And I just want to say for Popog, just because I want to be clear for anybody watching in the future or whatever, Popog said they're putting their bias on the table. They're an American, and a Brandenburg versus Ohio supporter. I don't know what that is. What's Brandenburg versus Ohio? I don't know what that is. I'm gonna look it up. So I'm already pretty biased against Canada, and basically everywhere else is free speech laws, or rather lack thereof. BB versus Ohio is the standard free speech in America. Oh, okay. We were talking about free speech. We'll circle back to this because I think this is interesting. And yeah, thanks for putting your biases on the table. That's great. You're not gonna get like fucking randomly shit on in here. Okay, because we were talking about free speech right before you got in, so we'll circle back around. Where was I? So, for example, like with the argument that you made, or the position that you posited, right? His Twitch isn't getting randomly shit on part of the experience. Oh, we try to make we should try to have a more productive space than that. It's my job to get shit on. Yeah. Athens has got it. I'm the one whose job it is to get shit on randomly. Okay, so in your example, it's if you don't like gay people and you defend yourself by saying the Bible says it's okay for me to hate gay people, right? If you've already been charged with a hate crime. So yeah, your religious belief is not a criminal offense by other laws in Canada, not by this one. So this one doesn't say that you can't fucking like dislike gay people or express that you have a dislike for gay people, right? It simply says that you're not allowed to willfully promote hatred against an identifiable group by displaying certain symbols. So certain symbols like the Nazi flag, or if you're like hanging out around I don't know, where would be another example? What's another good hate speech flag? I wonder if you get in trouble for the Confederate flag. Probably not in Canada. I don't think we would consider the Confederate flag a hate speech flag here. So the question is like, you have to, so for this one, B specifically, you would have to, is this still reading Bill C-22? No. We've read all the bills already. We're looking at specifically Bill C-9 and discussing an argument against the bill about it being restrictive in the case of court, like once you're in a hearing. So if you're doing the like B here, and you said you have to, like, the court would have to establish, and the prosecutor would have to establish that the flag or whatever you were using as a symbol was in fact a hate symbol. And there are laws in the criminal code in Canada that will define what a hate symbol is and what criteria has to be reached to be at that point. Right? So, like, again, it's the Nazi flag is the obvious one, but if you were to say like, let's say you wanted to say that the Antifa flag, for example, is a hate speech flag, and you wanted to make that argument, you would have to establish that in the courtroom and say, okay, here is the hate speech. Here's why it's hate speech. Here's the list of criteria, and it meets this, 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 and this. And that's enough to establish the basis that this is, in fact, a hate speech flag in the first place. And then you have to prove the offense of willfully promoting hatred. So it can't be that this person was waving this flag and they were ignorant of its meaning, or that they were waving the flag and to promote hatred against a specific group. So you have to establish all of those things. So B, as simple as it sounds, has a lot of work to establish what exactly was going on. So, and there are exemptions that are written into the bill. So exemptions, for example, because like I said, I read it. It's not long. You can read it for yourself. There's a link in the description. If there's not a link in the description, I'll put a link here. If you're watching in the future, there will be a link in the description. So, for example, an exemption would be media entertainment, right? Or for a educational demonstration. So if you showed a movie in a classroom that displayed the Nazi flag behind Hitler giving his speech, you're not willfully promoting hatred against any identifiable group by displaying this. You are simply educating people, right? So you have to establish that. There's actually a lot of hurdles in B. So there's like a lot of wiggle room to actually argue, right? Bogo says some people associate the Confederate flag with slavery and racism, but at the same time, many Southern Black people use the flag and say it just represents the South. Yeah, I don't know if the Confederate flag could be argued one way or another. It might be circumstantial, right? So the Nazi flag is a hate symbol. Like, it's intentionally a hate symbol. It was made as a hate symbol. Everybody knows it's a hate symbol. But something might be a hate symbol in one case and not a hate symbol in another case. So if you take the Confederate flag, for example, like it says, create an offense of willfully promoting hatred against any identifiable group by displaying certain symbols in a public place. So just waving a Confederate flag on its own, or having a Confederate flag on the back of your truck as a bumper sticker or something, would not meet the criteria necessarily. Right? So it's not that you can't have a flag, and it's not that you can't own these things and have them in your house. It's that, and there's even nothing in this law that says you can't sell a Nazi flag. It says that you can't willfully promote hatred utilizing the flag. Right? And again, like I said, there are exemptions written in. So let's go move on to C. Create a hate crime offense of committing an offense under the act or any other act of parliament that is motivated by hatred based on certain factors. So that is listing the factors of what would be constituted under the act. And so that just gets in the nitty-gritty of some of the details and the updating of the paperwork and what paperwork needs to be filed and stuff like that. So we can kind of skip that one. It's not super duper important. D, create an offense of intimidating a person in order to impede them from accessing certain places that are primarily used for religious worship or by an identifiable group for certain purposes. So if you're protesting Palestine and you are blocking the entrance to a Jewish temple, and you are preventing people from entering it, and you are intimidating them by being there, you would be violating this. And you would be, which also lumps into E, which is create an offense of intentionally obstructing or interfering with a person's lawful access to such a place. So, or if you were somebody protesting, or you were somebody who was mad about Islam, and you were at a mosque and you were intimidating people, or you were attempting to prevent them from entering the building, that would be considered, that would be a violation. Another example of this, if you want to kind of flip it on the reverse of something you don't really see, if you have a church, like a Christian church, that is really anti-LGBTQ, like they don't like trans people, they don't like gay people. They, inside their building, they preach hatred toward these people. Because not every church does this, but let's just say it is, for the sake of the hypothetical. There's a church out there saying that gay people are bad, they're going to go to hell, they're debauched, and they're ruining society, blah, 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 whatever the fuck they're saying. If a group of protesters or a group of gay people decide to get together, or LGBTQ plus people get together and they start protesting and intimidating, and if they do what Christians do outside of a Planned Parenthood, outside of this church group's doors, they would be in violation. Right? They would be violating that because they are preventing lawful access and obstructing people's lawful access to their place of worship. Right? So if you're a Christian and your place is getting blocked by somebody, if you're a religious person, your access to your religious spaces should not be being blocked, and you shouldn't be intimidated for having your religious beliefs. So as you can see, there's nowhere in this bill that stops you from believing something. There's nowhere in this bill that prevents you from trying to use the Bible as an argument of why your hate speech is acceptable, right? Because you're not arguing that the Bible says your hate speech isn't hate speech. Your Bible is saying your hatred is justified and correct. But the problem is that hate speech laws don't care if you think you're right. Of course you think you're right. If you didn't think you were right, you wouldn't be doing this, right? You're not doing these things knowing that the thing you think is wrong. So yeah, that's just not a legal argument. It might be a moral argument to you. It might be a discussion about philosophy or theology, sure. But it's not a legal argument when it comes to violating a pre-existing law, for example. All right, so let me catch up on what you guys were saying in chat, because I just wanted to get over that whole blurb so we could kind of get into the nitty-gritty a little bit more. Confederate flag should not be separated from the general protection of slave-based economics. They fought a war. Okay, yeah, Confederacy, whatever. So for your action to be incitement, it has to be likely to cause the listener to follow commands of the speaker into real action in moments following speech. It's hard for me to think of a case where it's going to be subjective. There's one where it's harder to prove. Example, some cults with secret sign language. Oh yeah. Though there's definitely ones that are going to be a lot like I said, the Nazi flag is obvious and really easy, and everybody fucking gets that, right? That's super fucking easy. If you're talking about secret or jargon language, like we've talked about with Chris Shelton and Scientology using specific slurs or language that is representative to be an othering and a derogatory term for other people, then proving that it's a derogatory term might be more difficult, but not impossible. If I sell a book that has information about Nazis, and it has the Nazi flag on it, it's fine. But if I point out to the same book where yelling at Jewish people and harassing them, that's a violation. Yeah, if you write a book about one thing or the other, especially if you're writing a book, putting the Nazi flag on the front of the book might be in bad taste. It might not sell very well, depending on where you are and what you're doing. And in fact, there might be rules against that, but those rules are not in this law, right? There's nothing in this law that prevents you from making either an argument from a biblical aspect or some other aspect in a court of law as a defense. I mean, it might not fly very well in Canada in particular. But let's talk about I want to see what Feline and Popog are talking about here real quick before I move on. Calling someone a terrorist nickname due to their skin color and region they're from. Well, that would certainly be racist. No, I don't know what Feline and Pog are talking about. What are you guys talking about? Hold on, you disagree. Disagree about what? Clear situation is devolving. Oh, incitement. Oh, okay. Oh, you guys are talking about the incitement of violence. The incitement of violence is specific in the United States. So, for example, Donald Trump encouraging his followers to do a January 6th. That's incitement of violence. And it was legally deemed to be as such. Yeah, sorry, yeah, I'm catching up. Isn't Wolfenstein banned in Germany for displaying the symbology despite being literally against what it stands for? So yeah, Germany's laws about the Nazis are very different. For other reasons. Blazing Saddles was not hate speech, it was ridicule. Oh, yeah, exactly. Blazing Saddles is a really good example. Blazing Saddles is an amazing movie. I adore that movie. Anybody who says that movie can't be made today does not understand. And I've seen, like, Mel Brooks say that he couldn't make that movie today. I'm like, bro, you don't understand. I don't know if you understand your own movie at that point. Now, it might not do well in theaters, and it might get a lot more backlash than it did then when it came out, but that's more of a reason to make it, not less of a reason to make it. Tropic Thunder being baited. Tropic Thunder's not that old! There's a reason why Tropic Thunder and Blazing Saddle haven't been canceled. Right? So, it is not new for, things to be criticized in the future when they were made before. That's not new. Something old being criticized and being taken down or tweaked or put with a disclaimer put in front of it about when it was made and that kind of shit. There are, Looney Tune cartoons that have this shit. It is not new. Yeah, but compared to Blazing Saddles, Tropic Thunder is within the realm of, when cancel culture was already a thing that was allegedly going on. Cancel culture is older than 18 years. Cancel culture has got to be at least 20 years old. I think Mel said it couldn't be made then, and even though they did it. Yeah, possibly. Seen Robert Downey Jr. saying in an interview that Tropic Thunder couldn't be made today or something like that. There are contextual reasons why a movie might not be able to be made today, because it would no longer be, it would be in too poor of taste, right, to make it at certain times, because context matters, especially for comedy. So if you're, so certain things don't fly in certain time periods because of the context of what society is up to at the time. I don't think Tropic Thunder would do as well today as it did when it came out. But that doesn't mean it can't have been made. And that doesn't mean you'd get you in legal trouble for making it, right? You might not be able to sell it to Hollywood, which is a whole different fucking conversation. Whether or not Hollywood would buy something that they think is going to sell is a very different fucking contextual conversation. Tropic Thunder was so well received because the comedy was done correctly. Well, yeah, you know. You want me to explain your point? Okay, tell me what your point is, Feline, and I'll interpret it. Tropic Thunder isn't even that offensive, just RDJ is part of controversial. Is it? There is literally a whole fucking part where RDJ talks about about fucking what's his face's character being being mentally challenged in the way he proceeded to play the role of being too mentally challenged. He uses the R word. So, my guy, I'm pretty sure Simple Jack is more offensive than the Robert Downey Jr. portion. But you know what Simple Jack was also doing? Making fun of it. Making fun of the way Hollywood portrays mentally ill people. Canadian Bacon would be a different thing if it made today. Oh yeah, absolutely. What Robert Downey... This is the thing. What Robert Downey Jr. was doing was not blackface. Yeah, people brushed off Trudeau's blackface thing pretty heftily. The explanation and stuff he said around it was passable enough for the population, I guess. Canadian Bacon would be a documentary. I haven't watched Canadian Bacon in so long. yeah, the racism that's done in the movie is being critical of racism. The stuff with Simple Jack is being critical of the concept. Okay, speech is not in isolation. It affects people even if it does not cause any imminent harm. Okay, yeah. Speech is speech in the past has been used to keep the segregation alive. It has led to the actions of ICE where they effectuate rises again as conservative extremists became bolder in their overt racism, etc. Speech that was left to slumber and run free speech because of BB versus Ohio. Okay. So you want me to like rephrase your position? I think the way I would rephrase your position is that speech doesn't exist in an isolation. If speech is common in a society, it is now part of that society's structure and makeup, right? So if, for example, the N-word, right? A racial slur, for example, we'll take the N-word as an example because it's like the most obvious, like extreme one you can kind of talk about, does not have the same connotation in the United States as it does in Canada, as it does in Norway, as it does in China, as it does in, right? Depending on where you are in the world and what that societal structure looks like, different words will have varying applications. If you want another example of a word, take the word cunt. The word cunt means something different in Canada and then it does in Australia, then it does in the United States, then it does in France, then it does depending on what country you go to and when you are in that country. So the time and place that some event is taking place is contextualized by the society that the event is taking place in and that society's history up until that point. The history of American racism towards specifically black people has had a really, really big impact, lasted a really, really long time, and still has not really been dealt with, and is still a major problem that is making up a lot of American society and the US society. In Canada, it's not the same here. Now, it doesn't mean that we're perfect, and it doesn't mean we didn't participate. It means the way that Canada has handled it and what Canada has done to try to mitigate that problem has been more effective than America has been. And some people would even argue that America has not even tried to mitigate much of what had happened during the African slave trade. And so those things contextually mean that that applies to an incidence of speech and what's going on contextually. Does that basically cover what you were trying to say, Feline? So the question is if we agree, well, we might not agree. Let's see what Popog said, but BB versus Ohio was part of the healing that has helped bring our country together, getting us past the horrible injustice of Schneck and fire in a crowded theater. Okay. What healing, I think, would be my question. Right? I would not get into the gritty details of the BB versus Ohio, which I do have pulled up. I've got the YouTube. Oh, sorry, I've got the Wikipedia pulled up, but I would rather have the actual document. And the document is loading, and it may or may not let me in. Can I read the document? Okay, yeah, I got the U.S. Supreme Court document. Ta-da! Okay, but before we get into the nitty-gritty of the document itself, if you say that BB versus Ohio is part of the healing of what? Oh yeah, no worries, Orange. You take your time. You go relax for a bit. If you want to watch later, feel free to come back. If you don't worry about it. You take care of you. Nobody's going to give you a hard time because sometimes these conversations get really, really fucking sticky and they can be really upsetting. These are difficult conversations. One could argue that the attack on birthright citizenship in the United States is trying to bring back elements of slavery. Well, you could argue that the United States never got rid of slavery. They just moved it into pay-for prisons. Right? They just built the slavery like systematically into the legal system, which is entirely lilted one direction and targeted. And so like they just legalized it in a different space. So like just legalizing slavery in a different space didn't get rid of slavery. Right? Sar is asking, do you remember all the hoopla over Far Cry 5 being in the States and killing white cult members, but killing black people in the older ones was fine? No, I don't remember that, actually. I don't remember Far Cry stuff. I do remember I watched a clip of Markiplier playing Red Dead Redemption 2 and coming across the KKK and him being like, is that a fucking KKK? Ah! And he's going crazy, like, fucking murdering them all. Or just killing them all, I guess. The question would be is the difference between killing and murder is like whether or not it was justified, right? So I don't know. That's a different discussion. Oh, tipping culture, yeah. Healing of intergroup, example, interracial strife. The inability of culturally dominant groups to censor minority group speech was what enabled people like MLK or Malcolm X to get away with speech that was considered extremely hateful by the majority of people at the time. Huh? I think the examples are too telling. I think the examples you gave are saying the quiet part out loud. Trump is a populist and people are dumb enough to vote for what sounds good without thinking about it. Okay, then why can't you apply the same thing to MLK and Malcolm X then? If it's okay for Trump to do, why is it not okay for MLK and Malcolm X? Since those are the examples you gave. Should we do a short break? You guys want to do a break? Reminds me of the scene from The Office. Well, it's not considered hate speech, Michael. Well, I hated it. So, like, if Trump's speech is okay, and the things that Trump says and does are okay, right? So, like, Trump engages in hate speech, he incites violence, he enables racism, he targets minority groups, right? He does these things. This is a thing that he does. He says these things. He knows he's saying it. He's doing it on purpose. He's admitted to doing it. We know this. Everybody knows this. Everybody with 2 brain cells knows this. And Trump is allowed to do that. And your reasoning for that is because he's a populist and people are stupid. And they'll vote for him. What you're saying in the example you gave was that censoring speech like MLK and Malcolm X. So why is it okay for Trump but not okay for Malcolm X and MLK according to the law you're citing? Sorry, I missed something about January 6th. Trump's speech from when he lost the election led to January 6th. he is outright responsible for it, and he hid and doesn't take responsibility. I'm trying to remember if the speech he did was January 6th, but was that before the was that before the who was announced as the winner? I don't recall. I think the difference is Trump is white and Martin Luther King is Jr. was black. Yeah, it was on January 6th. I'm just trying to remember if it was before or after they stormed it, before or after the winner was announced. Like, I knew that the polls had called it, but before they were officially, that's what they were doing in the White House, wasn't it, when they stormed in? Oh, the outcome was in November. Oh, was it the handover? Is that sorry, I'm Canadian. I don't remember all the dates for the American shit. The election outcome was in November. Got it. So January 6th was when the presidential turnover. Right. Yeah, I didn't remember the election was in November. January usually comes after November. No, January comes before November. January is the first month of the year. Oh, January 6th was the swearing in of Congress. And what about the part where he said they were gonna lynch fucking his vice president? What about that? Is that protected under free speech? Why? That is definitively inciting violence. Were MLK and Malcolm X members of or involved with the government? Oh, good point, because they were not. Neither of them, they were civil rights activists. I mean, I've read some of Martin Luther King's, and I don't remember which parts of Malcolm X I've read, but it was a long time ago. And I don't remember finding it terribly, problematic. Under Canada free speech laws, neither of them would get in trouble. And, their harassment laws and hate speech, neither of them would get in trouble for any of their speeches that I've read. I do know that Malcolm X was more aggressive and, considered more violent, and MLK was considered a pacifist. But as far as I'm aware, neither of them would have gotten in trouble under Canadian speech laws. Oh yeah, I'll definitely check it out. Yeah, it was Mike Pence. So I'm not really sure. I think this is another conversation where we talk about, is freedom of speech in America reasonable? And does America actually have better freedom of speech or more freedom of speech than other countries? Because I do think that is something that Americans believe. A large number of Americans believe that they have more free speech than other countries. And it really doesn't help that a handful of their politicians are running around telling them that they have more free speech than other countries, and also going to those other countries and telling them that they don't have free speech, a la Charlie Kirk. Right? So, and I'm pretty sure J.D. Vance said something like that too, but I don't recall. I know Charlie Kirk said it. I don't recall if J.D. Vance said it. But so yeah, you'd have to look at the what freedom of speech means in each country. But hate speech amongst individuals that are hating each other, that has nothing to do with the government, is not freedom of speech. Right? Harassment is not protected under free speech. Libel and defamation are not protected under free speech in the United States, right? So speech is limited in the United States. The United States free speech is about criticizing your government, which we now know that in the United States, under Donald Trump, you currently don't have, because people are prosecuted and targeted because they are dissenters of Master Chief fucking Donald Trump, right? So, for example, there have been multiple attacks on political opponents. Donald Trump has said he's planning on targeting political opponents. And then you have the fucking diet Gestapo running around, right? So we know that freedom of speech does not exist. How would you determine if you have more freedom of speech in country A or country B? Well, that's a great question, because the first thing we would do is we would look at the World Index, because you know what? There is actually a metric for this that they have decided, and they measure and they poll on every year. Did you know that? Did you know that there's an index for freedom of speech around the world? So the happiness index does a handful of different things, and they talk about how happy people are in a country, how free they are in a country. They talk about how like how they feel about politics in their country, and they pull massive numbers and they look at the laws in different countries and how they are applied in different court systems in those countries, and they use that metric to rank them. So you can actually find the Freedom Index. Yes! Let's pull it up. Let me pull it up. Let's get it. Now, the thing is you might be critical of the Freedom Index. You might not agree with its metric, but we gotta look at it first so we can find out whether or not you agree with the Freedom Index. Oh, what? Wrong link. Freedom Index, world population. Fuck yeah. Here you go. The Freedom Index, World Population Review. Here is the link to that if you're interested in checking it out yourself and looking at different stuff. So right now, Switzerland is the top of the Freedom Index. Yeah, when we looked at it last year, we were like, oh, the United States has fallen quite a bit, and that isn't even considered ICE yet. Because I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but ICE certainly does not help the United States in how free it is. Now, this isn't specifically right now we're looking at overall freedoms, and that includes like economic freedom. This is not just freedom of speech right now, but we can narrow it down as we go, right? So if we look at the Human Freedom Index, you can see at the bottom we have Human Freedom Index. This is least amount of freedom. This is most amount of freedom, ranking 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And so you can see that Australia is sitting at a 8.79. You can see that Russia is sitting at a 4.86. You can see we've got Libya at 4.67. You can see Sudan is only at a 3.98. You can see Germany's at an 8.67. Brazil is at a 7.4. Over here you have Chile at an 8.47. You can see Mexico is at a 6.72, and you can see Canada is sitting at a happy 8.74, and you can see United States is sitting at an 8.71. So if we scroll on down here, we can see the top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we have Switzerland, Denmark, New Zealand. Oh, and they get highlighted on the map if you're curious about where they are. So Denmark is over here, right there. There's Denmark. Oh, that's Switzerland, sorry. Switzerland's right here. Denmark is right there. That little one right there at 9.3. 9.03. New Zealand's down here at a 9.02. And then you've got Ireland, Luxembourg, and Estonia. Now, this is going to be Ireland, not Ireland, the part of the United Kingdom, Ireland, which is this little spot right there. It's this part. So, as we continue going down, countries ranked by Freedom Index, this was as of 2023. We see Switzerland, Denmark, New Zealand, Ireland, Luxembourg, Estonia, Finland, Czech, Netherlands, Australia, Iceland, Canada, Sweden, Taiwan, and then the United States. And this is from top to bottom. Now, if we do the drop down, unfortunately, we can't see right now 2026. So it is likely that you're going to see the United States probably is going to drop a little bit. So you can look at the global freedom score, which changes things. Finland's at 100, New Zealand is at 99, Sweden, Norway, Denmark, Ireland. And you can go down here and you can see, oh, this stayed the same. Oh, here, freedom. Global freedom house. Finland, Sweden, Norway, New Zealand, Canada, Netherlands, Denmark, Ireland, Luxembourg, San Marino, Japan, Belgium, Portugal, Switzerland, Uruguay, Slovenia, Estonia, Germany, Australia, Chile, Chechnya, Iceland, Taiwan, Barbados, Austria, Andorra, Marshall Islands, Tuvalu, sorry, I read that backwards. United Kingdoms, Cape Verde, I don't know how to pronounce this one. Micronesia, Dominica, Palau, Costa Rica. Where the fuck is the United States? Oh, there. Nope. That's not the United States. No. Did I go past them? Did I miss the United States? Where are you, America? I'm looking at the flag. That's probably a mistake. There they are. At an 83. Below Greece. If you look at media freedom, so this is human freedom. This is global freedom. This is media freedom. So how free is your media? We've got Norway, Estonia, Netherlands, Sweden, Finland, Denmark, Ireland, Portugal, Switzerland, Chechnya, Germany, Liechtenstein, Luxembourg, Lithuania, Latvia, New Zealand, Iceland, Belgium, Trinidad, United Kingdom, Canada, Austria, Spain, Taiwan, France, Jamaica, South Africa, Namibia, Namibia, I don't know how to pronounce that, sorry, Australia, Cape Verde, Poland, Romania, United States at 71.22. Cool, so let's look at freedom components. Switzerland, Denmark, Chechnya, Norway, Estonia, Sweden, Luxembourg, Ireland, Finland, New Zealand, Iceland, Netherlands, Canada, Australia, Portugal, Germany, Austria, Taiwan, Belgium, Japan, Latvia, the United States. The United States being at a 9.14. So here's the thing. Is it, is the United States really the land of the free? Is it really the most free country in the world? No, it's fucking not. So there's the thing is that, like, a lot of the United States has been huffing their own fucking smoke and fucking absorbing their own propaganda and believing their own hype. Oh, the America's got the best military in the world. Oh, America's got the richest country in the world. Look at our GDP. Oh, America's got the most freedom of speech. Blah, 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 blah. Do you, though? Yeah, don't get me wrong, your military's fucking cracked, dude. I'll give you that one. How effective is your military? I don't know, why did you instigate Article 4 if you're so great? Why is your president currently begging for money and begging for help in Iran if your military is so great? Because having a big military that you've put a lot of money into is worthless if you can't utilize it properly and if your logistics fall apart. Obviously. Especially if you don't know what the fuck you're doing. If you don't know what the fuck you're doing, then, like, you're gonna just fucking embarrass yourself. You don't, like, Russia did. Victoria says the United States hasn't won a war since World War II. And, you could argue about their participation in World War II. There's nuance to that. Popog says, I believe we have the strongest legal free speech protections of any country still. Why? Why do you believe that? How much do you know about other countries' freedom of speech laws? We certainly lack other freedoms. Yeah, sure. Every other, like, universal healthcare is an example. Every other country I've looked at has hate speech laws, and we don't and can't under BBV Ohio. Is that the metric you're using? And is that you think that's a good metric, and why? Yeah, I'm not arguing with you. I'm not saying that's the case. I'm trying to understand your process here. I'm not trying to say that you're wrong. I'm questioning where you're coming up with this from, so don't stress about it. Besides Grenada, I don't think they've won a war since the Civil War. Does the Civil War count? Their military is so great. Why are all the weapon reserves running low to attack Iran? For no reason. No reason. No reason. Let me look at this bill again for a second. I want to look at this Supreme Court. Brandenburg versus Ohio, 395 U.S. 444, 1969. Primary holding. A state may not forbid speech advocating the use of force or unlawful conduct unless this advocacy is directed to inciting or producing imminent lawless action and is likely to incite or produce such action, is the primary holding. A Ku Klux Klan leader in Ohio asked a Cincinnati reporter to cover a KKK rally in Hamilton County for his television station. The resulting footage captured people burning a cross and making speeches while clad in the usual KKK attire of hooded robes. The speeches mentioned taking revenge on African Americans as well as Jews, of course, potentially by marching on Washington on the 4th of July. They also criticized the president, the Congress, and the Supreme Court for allegedly colluding with non-whites against whites. Once this footage became public, Ohio authorities charged Brandenburg, who had made one of the speeches, with advocating violence under a criminal syndicalism statute. The law dated from the First World War era and responded to then widespread concern about anarchists, socialists, and communists. Oh, of course. The KKK leader was convicted and sentenced to 1 to 10 years in prison, as well as a fine. His conviction was affirmed by the state appellate court and dismissed by the Supreme State Court. Okay, so let's see. I'm just going to read the primary holding again so I understand what I'm talking about. The state may not forbid speech advocating the use of force or unlawful conduct unless this advocacy is directed to inciting or producing imminent lawless action and is likely to incite or produce such action. How does that stop a defamation case? Elbow Strike, nice name. That's a good name. Elbow Strike I like that. The USA doesn't top any global index for anything they claim to be great about. Yeah, there's that also, but that's a... How does this apply? And I have a different question about this. Is it possible for this law to be overturned? And is this a federal law, or is this a law that was done in Ohio that is cited as case law to bolster any arguments in courts in other states? Because I think it's the second, but I'm not 100% sure, because I'm not American, and I'm not a legal student of American law. Thanks, I picked it out when you were 14. 14-year-old you had great taste. Mwah. Perfect. I applaud. Wonderful. Fantastic. Anybody can answer these questions, by the way. These aren't specifically at POPOG. If you know about this law more, then please, by all means. Is an interpretation by the Supreme Court of Canada of the First Amendment to our Constitution. All right, so let's pull up the First Amendment. The Constitution First Amendment. So it's federal case law. Okay. First Amendment. For anybody who doesn't recall, or doesn't know, or doesn't have it memorized. First Amendment, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press or the right of the people peacefully to assemble and to petition the government for redress of grievances. It could potentially be overturned by a later Supreme Court or by an amendment. Yes, so it's not set in stone. Yeah, like Roe v. Wade. Yes, that's what I was thinking. Feline is on the same line, like path that I'm on. So like it get it overturned like Roe v. Wade did. Okay, so let's talk a little bit then more about the First Amendment. The First Amendment, particularly in relation to free speech, as far as I understand and as far as I have heard scholars of the Constitution talk about it, is that freedom of speech is about the people's freedom to criticize the government, free from reprisal, regardless of how aggressive that speech may or may not be. Is that a fair interpretation? Is that a fair understanding? For the sake of the discussion. April says it means that the government can't stop the news from newsing or people from protesting unless they're also breaking additional laws. Right. It is specifically against the government. So here's the thing about harassment laws. Harassment laws aren't about the government. You can't use freedom of speech to defend yourself from being hit with a restraining order. It's not about the government specifically. Really? Do you have a citation of like it being applied in another way? Because from my understanding, according to defamation laws in the United States, freedom of speech is not applicable to save you from a defamation suit, nor is it from a harassment suit. You can't use freedom of speech to say that I am allowed to continue to harass somebody. You'll get a restraining order. We've literally watched it happen. So if there are restraining order laws that restrict your speech that are not in contention with the First Amendment, how do you not have freedom of speech laws? Yeah, I just don't see a reading of this that isn't applicable to the government. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof or abridging the freedoms of speech or the press or the right of the people peacefully to assemble and petition the government for a redress of grievances. I mean, I guess there's a loose interpretation that could have been argued for way back in the day that this wasn't just about the government, but in current law, right? That's the last clause. Specific to what, though? You're saying the last clause is specific to the government, but this says, and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. In a list. With an Oxford comma. So then, what is the rest of this referring to? Oh, you wanna have a chat? You know what? Tell you what. Why don't we schedule something? I'll give you the Discord. You can get in the Discord, and me and you will schedule something, and you can get on a call, and we can talk. How about that? Does that sound good to you? I run a show called Debate Hub, where I host debates specifically for this kind of thing. So if you would like, we can absolutely schedule something with you, and you can either do a debate if you want to do a debate, or you can do a discussion if you want to do a discussion, or me and you can just fucking shoot the shit and chat about it. We can talk about it, right? Are you interested in that? Would you guys be interested in watching that? Debate me, bro! Hell yeah. Okay. Tell you what, I'll give the link to the Discord. Well, debate is used loosely in the Discord. I'm not gonna debate you. We can discuss, but I can set you up with a debate if you would like. But that's like an option. I'll post the link to the Discord. In the chat. Feel free to join. Everybody behave. Don't be mean. We're gonna chill. And then we'll schedule something and we'll do like a bigger talk on this because I think that's a great. Have you been into debate? So yeah, we'll absolutely do that. But let's call it there for today. I think we've discussed a lot. I think I've covered most of what I wanted to cover when it came to Pierre Poilievre, right? And I think we can have a bigger conversation about the freedom of speech in the United States and how it compares to other freedom of speech laws and freedom of the press, etc., in other countries. Right? Because, like, if you look at this, just before I go, if you look at this real quick and you go back to the Freedom Index, right? Press Freedom Index, which should fall under freedom of speech, right? We agree that the freedom of the press is part of the First Amendment, right? We clearly it's part of it. So if the freedom of speech laws in the United States are so strong and so good, should they not top the Press Freedom Index? But they don't. They're only at 65. They're way down here. They're like roughly midway, mid-freedom. They're not even close. Norway's at a 92, Canada's at a 78, and the United States is at a 65. So, like, even if you want to cite the law seeming to be able to be interpreted to be incredibly loose about, or freedom of speech being incredibly protected, in practice, it does not seem to have panned out that way. But yeah. Popog says, yes, but also note the subtle difference between the way the word press is used in modern speech and the way it is used in the First Amendment. It actually doesn't end up mattering for laws, but it's slightly different. Well, shouldn't it matter for laws? Laws are pretty specific in their usages, right? Or are you saying that the United States is using semantics to adjust the word press in different ways to circumvent the First Amendment? Freedom to press wood pulp into newspaper, big brain. Yeah. Out of curiosity, what is Russia rated? For freedom of the press? 24.57. Oh, you're just talking about etymology. Yeah, etymology is a whole fucking... That's a whole fucking thing. That's a whole nother fucking bag of worms. No. We get into that kind of shit all the time. We get into those weeds. All right, we're going to call it there. I have been live for quite a while. I definitely covered everything I wanted to cover. I've been live for 3 hours. So I'm going to get on out of here. I'll be back tomorrow talking about whatever the fuck I'm talking about. I don't know what I'm talking about tomorrow, but I'll be back. I'm going to take a nap because I'm very tired. Thank you for joining me. And hopefully my voice will be covered. I am going to be away on Friday for that week up until the following, not next Saturday, but the following Saturday. And then there's a bunch of debate stuff coming out. So go check out @DebateHubOfficial on YouTube. And go check out what we're up to there. And maybe we'll see Popog over there in the near future. Thanks so much. I will see you guys later. Have a good day. Thanks for joining me. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye now. Goodbye. Goodbye. Bye-bye now. Goodbye. Bye. Bye-bye now. So long.
You don't want to be like this. This is disgusting. This is awful in every way. If I could kill it, I would. But I legally can't. But I've considered it.